It's relationships,
Right.
right? It is very common for your relationships. Not, I'm not talking about relationship with your better half. I'm talking about even relationship with friends and so forth, family members change, right? And I see that very often. It's not in a bad way. It's always in a good way. Meaning, you tend to gain your confidence back, right? You tend not to put up with anything anymore because your autoesteem or self-esteem is pretty high, right? Which is all good stuff, right? So in my mind, you are getting rid of or decreasing the relationship with people that put you down, right? So that's what it tends to do. It's not a, sometimes it can be hard because you had a relationship for 10, 15 years, but in reality, it was not a healthy one, right? In the same token, it can also make your relationship stronger, right? With your better half or your whatever, right? And I think that's also another way that we sometimes we don't see that because patients don't like it, but we can tell that especially when people are back to their normal weight, quote unquote, or they feel comfortable or they feel sexy with it, right? The relationship with the partner more becomes more lively, should I say, right? So, and I see that a lot too, and I think it's phenomenal when we see that kind of stuff. What was
Right.
your experience been with that?
Right. I mean, I've seen it as well quite a bit, and I think it's what you stated beforehand. It's not necessarily a bad thing. If I'm used to my interaction with you as Dr. Teixeira, of you, for example, being somebody who is talkative, just as an example, and all of a sudden you are somebody who is very reserved, which is not a bad thing either, but that will change the dynamic, and I'm going to think that something has changed, and it's going to change the dynamic between what I know you for 7 years now. All of a sudden you're a different person, and I'm going to think something is wrong. So the same thing really after weight loss surgery, because of all of the reasons that you aforementioned. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but people have known you all of your life as this person, and then all of a sudden things are changing about you, not just the looks. And I'm not talking just about your looks. They're talking about also what you mentioned, the confidence, the way you carry yourself, and that is probably gonna take some time for them to adjust to that. So what I usually recommend, and I'm not by any means a psychologist, of course, or an expert in this, but I would say just give people time to adjust. Usually, once they get used to the new you, they'll be fine. And the other thing that I also would say is try to kind of prepare them gradually as well to what there is to come prior to the surgery, so that they can be more prepared. And what I've noticed in life in general is that the more they understand, the more the more the people basically accept you, and the less issues you will have in general. And